Hi guys, welcome back to my XVS guide. Now I'm gonna review Warrior of like Bartz. So let's start from his stats. I can say that he is pretty decent character. He is strong in terms of offensive because he gets high attack boost 230% and 200% on Brave Shift form. And he also get additional 500 raw attack points. So yes, his offensive is top notch. And another good thing is he is not fragile because he gets decent health, defense, and spirit boost. And on normal form, he has that fatal damage protection. So yes, it is really important because Bartz need to use long setup, so you don't want him to die on a battle. Okay, so pretty good so far. He also excel on killing beasts and plant on board form, so you don't need to confuse which form you should use. Very good. And on Brave Shift form, he gives your party 80% wind resist. Okay, this is really nice, especially when you need it. He casts it every turn, so make sure you bring him to battle where you need like wind elemental resist buff. Okay, it will keep your party safe, but again you need to stay on Brave Shift form to get the buff. Okay, and on normal form he gets that 180% limit burst damage. It is really important because his normal form limit burst damage is pretty powerful, okay, even by today's standard. So that's all about stats. Now let's take a look on his normal form. So on normal form, he is Mirror of Equity and Graviton Cannon Chainer. For Mirror of Equity, I can say that it is his best chaining family, okay? Because first skill you get on Neo Vision is Soaring Blade. It deals 66 times non-elemental damage, so yes, he is flexible. Okay, just make sure you don't equip his STMR if the enemy resists against wind element. And his old move, Brave Blade, it is totally awesome, okay? Because if you have used all the setup abilities which increase its damage modifier, it is probably the strongest Mirror of Equity chaining ability on this game because it can deal up to 182.5 times damage per cast. So with triple cast, he can deal like 540 times, which is equal on some of the most powerful limit bursts on the game. Okay, really nice. But again, Brave Blade is set up ability, so you cannot use it every turn, I guess, because you need, on certain situation, you need to use a skill to unlock it. Okay, but it is really insanely powerful. And for Graviton Cannon, I hate this move on the past, but as the game grows, we have more and more Graviton Cannon Chainer, and yes, Final Fantasy V characters usually have this move, okay? It deals decent damage up to 83.5 times, but again, you also need like to use setup to increase the damage modifier, something that I don't like that much. But you don't need to worry that much about this Graviton Cannon because your passive already increased 60 times damage. So that increased damage modifier you get from active ability is simply like minor bonus. Okay, and yes, he can only imperil wind element by 120%. He also able to imbue one ally with wind element, so this is really nice if your ally, let's say, cannot imbue themselves with wind element. Let's say like they are two double hand like Akstar Cleom, so this is good ability, okay? And he also able to buff wind and earth elemental resist by 100%, so again, he may be good on Dark Vision, where you need that wind and earth elemental if you cannot defeat the enemy on the first turn. And if you think beast and plant killer on passive are not enough, don't worry because he still gets 100% beast and plant killer buff on his abilities. Okay, and it is merged with his 300% attack buff. So really guys, you will always have this buff, I can say. Okay, so this is really good. For Granny's ability, it deals 130 times damage with 120% win and peril. Again, this is damaging, but if you have maxed your Brave Blade damage modifier, then I can say it is nothing special. And for the limit burst, I can say that this limit burst is probably the best upgrade we ever get. Because if you remember, usually old characters from 5 stars, they get limit burst upgrade, but the damage modifier upgrade is simply not enough on today's standard. But this Bartz, his LP deals 135 times. Sure, it is not the best limit burst, but I can say it holds up on this day. Okay, the main downside is this normal form doesn't have limit burst damage buff, so you need to rely on Brave Shift form. Okay, with only 180% limit burst damage buff from his passive, you only deal like 378 times damage, which is not bad. But if you have maxed your Brave Blade is much more powerful than this one. Okay, so I can say you should aim at least to get like 300% limit burst damage in total if you want to use this constantly. The good news is you can use this easily, okay, because after you use your limit burst, you will feel limit burst gauge randomly on the next turn. And because this finisher, I believe you have 2 chainer on your party, and it will refill Warrior of Light Bartz limit burst gauge almost full every turn. Almost or full every turn. Okay, really awesome. And remember, he can also entrust his limit burst if you think you have someone better. Okay, so that's all for the normal form. Let's take a look on Brave Shift form. So I can say that his Brave Shift form is still pretty decent, but yeah, you're still able to use your Brave Blade on Brave Shift form. But the main problem is there are some abilities that increase Brave Blade damage modifier on normal form. Sure, they are only minor, but the point here is Brave Shift form damage may be a little bit lower than normal form, okay, but nothing game changer, I can say, okay. But like you can see that if you want to make her into LB finisher, which is really powerful, and that means you need to stay on normal form, because like you can see that his Brave Shift limit burst is a support move. It is very nice, 280% attack and magic, and it also grants you limit burst damage buff, which is something that he needs for his normal form. So again, I think for DPS, just stick on normal form. Okay, you basically on this form you only need this one, but this form is more suitable to make him into like support, because his Brave Shift form has something that really make him insanely good, and that is 45% win damage buff. Okay, so this increased 45% to physical and magic, and because this increased both physical and magic damage, it also affect evoke damage, win element evoke damage. Okay, I have tried this on Ferris, and yes, the physical and magic damage move affect her evoke damage, and that's why I think if you have Bartz, then your best partner is Ferris, because like you know that evoke damage is kind of insane, Terra, Ferris, and I think this is one of the way how Ferris can surpass Terra Neo Vision. Maybe, okay, I don't test the damage comparison after I buff this, but the point here is yes, 45% win increase works on Ferris limit burst. Okay, and for the Granny's ability, I don't think it is any special. Okay, it grants your party Aurel Ray chaining move, which is great, but the damage, I don't think it is that important. Okay, basically you use this to increase your hit count and to make other become chainer so he can finish on his normal form. I think that's the function of the skill, okay, not for the damage. Okay, and yes, if you use this for his normal form, I mean the limit burst for his normal form, then you get 100% limit burst damage buff, and like you can see, you get 280% limit burst damage in total. So he deal 513 times, which is good. And remember, you may say Tifa deals more damage, but again, for Bartz, I think you can almost spam his limit burst on every turn because of his high limit burst fill rate and auto fill on the next turn after using your limit burst. Okay, so pretty decent character. So yeah, I think that's all you need to know about Brave Shift. Let's talk about equipment. For equipment, it is pretty simple, guys. You don't need to think, simply focus on attack boost. But for normal form, you want to give him limit burst damage buff. Okay, because if you able to max your limit burst damage passive 300%, and you also get 100% limit burst damage from your Brave Shift limit burst, then you can deal like very high damage. Okay, 400% limit burst damage, like about 700 limit burst damage, and that's pretty high. That's why I think, other than confused or thinking about Brave Blade, you simply need to use his limit burst. It is much better. And for Brave Shift, very simple. You can simply increase his attack stats because you won't use your limit burst. I mean, there is no damage on his Brave Shift limit burst, so you don't need limit burst damage. Okay, so that's all for equipment. My conclusion for Warrior of Light Bartz. So yes, okay, he is also one of the best Neo Vision Awakened unit on this game. Sure, if you ask me which one better, Gilgamesh and Bartz, I will pick Gilgamesh definitely, okay, because he is more awesome. But the point for Bartz is not for versatile character. The point of having Bartz is to make Wind Elemental party, because that 45% wind damage is totally insane, guys. Just imagine, you only deal like 1.5 million, 1.4 million on Dark Vision, but if you give Bartz wind damage buff, you can really up your damage by much higher, okay? So this is the reason why you use Bartz, and because of that 45% wind damage buff, I think if you can use wind element on this game, you should use wind element. So it's like on the past, okay? On the past, we kind of always use like light element, fire element. It is not because those elements are OP or whatever, but because they are easily accessible. Same for this one, okay? 45% all allies. Right now, you don't have a buffer for other elements like Warrior of Light Bartz. So that's the reason why you should have him use wind element. Okay, and his limit burst is also powerful, and it is kind of spammable. He has powerful chaining and finishing moves, so he is totally flexible. Really awesome character. Okay, his Thrustmaster and STMR are also pretty decent, but for STMR it is wind element. So again, if you fight against enemy who resist against wind, I'm kinda disappointed because there is such good killers, beast and plant on the sword, okay? But because of the element, you may not able to use this. But still, pretty decent overall, okay? I think that's all you need to know about Warrior of Light Bartz. I think, yes, get him if you can because he is really amazing. Thank you very much for watching. Please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more Final Fantasy Brave Exvius guide. Bye bye, guys!